Pride before DE fall. The vast chamber of the Galactic Council stretched before them like an ancient cathedral made of starlight and crystal. Admiral Sarah Reeves stood at the center of the human delegation, her weathered hands clasped behind her back as she faced the assembled representatives of 12 starfaring civilizations. The air itself seemed to hum with barely contained tension. High above them, suspended in a gravity-defying throne of pure energy, sat Supreme Commander Vextar of the Crithian Empire. His crystalline form refracted light into 1,000 rainbow patterns, each facet of his body a testament to his species' claim of evolutionary perfection. When he spoke, his voice resonated through the chamber like the tolling of cosmic bells. "The Council recognizes the human delegation," Vextar announced, his tone carrying the weight of centuries of dominance. "You have requested this emergency session to discuss what you call a revolutionary defensive measure. Proceed, though I doubt anything from your species could truly surprise us." Admiral Reeves stepped forward, her military uniform a stark contrast to the flowing robes and energy fields worn by other species. "Honored members of the Council, we come before you today not just to present a defensive system, but to propose a new understanding of warfare itself." A ripple of amusement passed through the Crithian delegation. General Krixmar, their military strategist, leaned forward. His body, composed of living crystal that could shift and reshape at will, formed into a dismissive gesture. Humans and their fascination with primitive concepts. "Tell us, Admiral, does this revolution involve more of your species' infamous tendency to strap explosives to everything that moves?" The other Crithians laughed, a sound like wind chimes in a storm. Several other species joined in, though the Altarians and the enigmatic Void-Touched remained silent, watching with interest. Admiral Reeves remained calm. "Our approach to warfare has always been one of adaptation and innovation. While the Crithian Empire has perfected energy weapons and shield technology over millennia, humanity has survived through flexibility." "Flexibility is merely another word for inconsistency," Vextar interjected. "Show us your records. In the past cycle alone, the Crithian fleet has pacified 17 rebellious systems with 0 casualties to our forces. Our predictive battle algorithms achieve 99.97% accuracy. Our plasma lance arrays can slice through any known armor. What could humanity possibly offer that surpasses such perfection?" Dr. Chenwei, humanity's lead scientist, activated a holographic display. "Respected Council, we offer something beyond perfection. We offer evolution in real time. Our new vessel, the Prometheus, incorporates what we call the adaptive response matrix." The hologram showed a ship unlike anything in known space, where Crithian vessels were sleek, crystalline perfection. The Prometheus appeared almost organic in its design. Its hull seemed to ripple and flow, covered in what looked like scales that shifted and moved independently. General Krixmar's form flickered with disdain. "You've built a ship that looks diseased. Is this some kind of biological weapon? The Council banned such abominations eons ago." "Not biological," Dr. Chen explained, "but biomimetic. The Prometheus learns from every encounter, every weapon impact, every tactical scenario. Its armor doesn't just absorb damage, it analyzes it, adapts to it, and develops countermeasures in real time." Vextar's crystalline form dimmed slightly, a sign of skepticism among his kind. "Impossible. No processing system could react fast enough to counter our weapons in the midst of battle. Our plasma lances strike at the speed of light itself." "Perhaps a demonstration would be more convincing," Admiral Reeves suggested. "We propose a war game. The Prometheus against a squadron of Crithian vessels. No live weapons, just simulation protocols." The chamber erupted in discussion. The Crithians buzzed with indignation, their crystalline bodies resonating with harmonics that translated as anger and disbelief. Other species whispered among themselves, some intrigued, others dismissive. "Absurd." General Krixmar's form shifted into sharp angular configurations. One human ship against a Crithian squadron. It would be destroyed in seconds. We have no need to prove our superiority to primitives who still use chemical propulsion as backup systems. Afraid? The word came from Captain Marcus Thompson, the youngest member of the human delegation. His dark eyes held a challenge that transcended species boundaries. The chamber fell silent. To question Crithian courage was unprecedented. Their entire culture was built on the foundation of martial superiority and tactical perfection. Vextar's form blazed with sudden intensity. The Crithian Empire fears nothing, least of all human toys. Very well. We accept your challenge, but when your ship is reduced to scattered atoms in space, humanity will acknowledge our supremacy and submit to Crithian protection, like every other young species should. And if we win? Admiral Reeves asked quietly. You won't, Vextar stated with absolute certainty. But if by some cosmic jest you do, the Council will recognize humanity as a full military partner, not merely a protected subsidiary. You would have the right to maintain your own defense forces and develop military technology without oversight. The stakes were set. In 3 standard days, the war game would commence at the Council's proving grounds in the neutral zone. As the delegations filed out, Ambassador Lisa Park pulled Admiral Reeves aside. Sarah, are you certain about this? The Crithians haven't lost a military engagement in over 2,000 years. Their technology is stagnant, Reeves interrupted gently. Perfect, yes, but unchanging. They'd focused so long on refining what works that they've forgotten how to adapt to what doesn't. The Prometheus isn't just a ship, Lisa. It's humanity's answer to the question of whether perfection can truly defeat evolution. In the Crithian section of the station, General Krixmar addressed his subordinates. Prepare the Thunder of Absolute Clarity Squadron. We'll use standard suppression pattern Gamma 7. This farce will be over in minutes. Sir, a younger Crithian ventured, should we analyze the human claims more thoroughly? Their confidence is misplaced bravado. Krixmar cut him off. Humans are known for their irrational optimism. They strap rockets to metal cans and call it spacecraft. They use projectile weapons alongside energy systems. They're a species of contradictions and chaos. Our ordered perfection will demonstrate why the galaxy needs Crithian guidance. Meanwhile, aboard the hidden human facility in the asteroid belt of Sol system, the crew of the Prometheus ran final checks. The ship's surface rippled like water, its adaptive armor processing thousands of combat scenarios per second. Deep within its core, quantum processors hummed with possibility. Captain Jessica Martinez stood on the bridge, watching her crew work with quiet efficiency. Unlike the rigid hierarchy of Crithian vessels, her bridge buzzed with collaborative energy. Engineers debated with tacticians, scientists challenged navigators, and through it all, solutions emerged. Captain, Lieutenant Commander Yuki Sato reported from the sensor station. We've received the technical specifications for the war game. Standard Council simulation protocols. The Crithians have registered 5 heavy cruisers for their squadron. 5 cruisers against 1 experimental ship, Martins mused. They're not even trying to hide their contempt. Or their confidence, added Commander Alex Okafor, her first officer. Their tactical doctrine hasn't changed in centuries. They'll use overwhelming firepower in precise geometric patterns. Beautiful, predictable, and perfect. Martinez smiled, an expression that held both respect for their opponents and faith in human ingenuity. And that's exactly why we'll win. The Prometheus wasn't built to be perfect. It was built to become whatever it needs to be. As the hours counted down to the confrontation, both sides prepared according to their nature. The Crithians ran endless simulations, each one confirming their inevitable victory. Their ships moved in perfect synchronization, their weapons calibrated to mathematical precision, their shields harmonized to create overlapping fields of impenetrable energy. The humans, in contrast, deliberately introduced chaos into their preparations. They ran scenarios where systems failed, where crew members had to improvise, where nothing went according to plan. They practiced not until they achieved perfection, but until adaptation became instinct. In the depths of space, at the designated coordinates for the wargame, Council observer ships began to gather. Representatives from every major civilization arrived to witness what most believed would be a brief demonstration of Crithian supremacy. The betting pools heavily favored the crystalline warriors, with odds of 500 to 1 against the single human vessel. But among the observers, a few watched with keener interest. The Altarians, ancient and wise, detected something in the human preparations that intrigued them. The void-touched, who existed partially outside normal spacetime, sensed ripples of possibility that defied prediction. As the final day dawned across a dozen worlds, Admiral Reeves stood before the human delegation one last time. Today, we prove that humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our weapons. It's our ability to face the impossible and find a way. The Crithians believe in perfection. We believe in potential. The stage was set. In less than 24 hours, two philosophies of warfare would clash in the darkness between stars. One sought to preserve the dominance of crystallized perfection. The other aimed to shatter it with the chaos of human creativity. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see which would prevail. Waitin' Titans Kilash. The proving grounds materialized in the void like a cosmic arena, its boundaries marked by Council beacon ships that projected a massive holographic grid into space. Within this three-dimensional battlefield, the fate of humanity's military independence would be decided. Thousands of sensors from hundreds of observer ships focused on the empty space, waiting for the combatants to arrive. The Crithian squadron emerged first, dropping out of hyperspace with choreographed precision. 5 crystalline vessels, each a masterpiece of geometric perfection, arranged themselves in a classic Crithian battle formation, a three-dimensional star pattern that had proven unbreakable for millennia. The thunder of absolute clarity led the formation, its hull refracting starlight into blinding displays of power. General Krixmar's voice echoed across all communication channels. Behold the might of Crithian order. Let this demonstration remind all younger species why the galaxy prospers under our protection. Then space twisted. Unlike the smooth transition of Crithian hyperspace technology, the Prometheus seemed to tear its way into reality. The ship appeared like a predator emerging from dark water, its adaptive hull already shifting and flowing as it analyzed the battlefield. Gasps rippled through the observer ships. The Prometheus looked nothing like the static hologram shown days before. Its surface writhed with activity, scales of smart matter rearranging themselves into patterns that hurt the eye to follow. Energy readings fluctuated wildly, as if the ship couldn't decide what it wanted to be. Typical human instability, Krixmar broadcast dismissively. They can't even maintain consistent power output. All vessels, initiate suppression pattern Gamma 7. Let's end this quickly. The Crithian squadron moved with breathtaking precision. 5 ships dancing in perfect harmony, their plasma lances charging in synchronized pulses. The first barrage came exactly as their doctrine prescribed. Overwhelming firepower focused on predicted escape vectors. Brilliant beams of energy lanced through space, each one capable of cutting through a moon. They converged on the Prometheus with mathematical precision, a killing blow that had ended 1,000 battles before they truly began. The beams hit empty space. The Prometheus wasn't where it should have been. Instead of following predictable evasion patterns, the human ship had done something impossible. It had moved sideways through spacetime, not using conventional thrust, but somehow sliding along a dimensional axis that shouldn't have existed. Spatial distortion detected. A Crithian sensor officer reported, confusion evident in their harmonic tones. The human vessel is generating localized spacetime anomalies. Captain Martinez gripped her command chair as the Prometheus shuddered around her. Report. Adaptive systems online. Sado called out. The ship analyzed their firing pattern in the microseconds before they engage. We're now operating in phase-shifted space. They can't hit what isn't fully in their dimension. Power drain. Martins asked. Significant, but the adaptive reactors are already optimizing. We can maintain this for approximately 6 minutes. More than enough. Initiate response pattern Alpha. Let's see how they handle chaos. The Prometheus suddenly split, or appeared to. Where one ship had been, now 3 identical vessels appeared, each moving in impossible directions. The Crythian targeting systems, designed for perfect accuracy against predictable foes, struggle to lock onto targets that seem to exist in quantum superposition. Illusions, Kriegsmarr declared. Maintain firing pattern. Their tricks cannot fool Crythian sensors indefinitely. But they weren't mere illusions. Each image of the Prometheus was partially real, existing in a state of quantum uncertainty that the ship's adaptive systems had somehow weaponized. When the Crythians fired at one image, it became less real while another solidified, only to shift again milliseconds later. Returning fire, Commander Okafor announced from the tactical station. Loading conventional kinetic rounds. The observers buzzed with confusion. Kinetic weapons against Crythian shields that could deflect asteroids. The Prometheus fired, but not as expected. Instead of simple projectiles, it launched what appeared to be metallic seeds that scattered across space. The Crythians didn't even bother to evade. Their shields could handle primitive mass drivers with ease. The seeds hit the shields and stuck. Minor impacts on shield grid, a Crythian officer reported. No damage. The humans are throwing pebbles at mountains. Then the seeds began to grow. Like metallic vines, they spread across the shield surfaces, feeding on the very energy meant to keep them out. Within seconds, web-like structures covered the perfect spheres of Crythian protection. Impossible. Kriegsmarr's form flared with angry light. Shields are energy constructs. Physical matter cannot adhere to them. Unless that matter is programmed to convert energy to mass. Dr. Chen's voice cut in on the public channel. Your shields are feeding our nanoconstructors. The more power you pump into them, the faster they grow. The Crythian response was swift and decisive. All 5 ships simultaneously inverted their shield polarity, a standard countermeasure that should have vaporized any attached matter. The nanovines adapted instantly, reversing their own molecular structure to maintain adhesion. Worse, they began to pulse in harmony with the shield frequency, creating interference patterns that opened small gaps in the perfect defense. Through these gaps, the Prometheus struck, not with massive planet-killing weapons, but with surgical precision. Tiny antimatter packets, no larger than dust motes, slipped through the compromised shields and detonated against hull surfaces. The damage was minimal, but the psychological effect was devastating. Crythian ships, untouched in battle for 2 millennia, now showed scorch marks on their perfect crystalline hulls. Adapt and overcome, Martinez commanded. Phase 2. The Prometheus suddenly consolidated from its quantum state, becoming a single solid target. It accelerated directly toward the Crythian formation at impossible speeds, its hull now glowing with accumulated energy. It's a ramming attack, a Crythian officer warned. They mean to destroy themselves to damage us. All ships, concentrated fire, Kriegsmarr ordered. Vaporize them before they reach us. 5 plasma lances focused on a single point. The combined energy could have cracked a small planet. It struck the Prometheus dead center. The ship absorbed it all. Its adaptive hull didn't deflect or disperse the energy. It drank it in like a sponge absorbing water. The scales on its surface glowed brighter, shifting from red to white to a blue so intense it seemed to burn holes in space itself. Energy absorption at impossible levels. The Crythian science officers' harmonics reached pitches of panic. Their hull is acting as a massive capacitor. The Prometheus reached the center of the Crythian formation and released the stored energy, not as a weapon, but as a massive electromagnetic pulse that washed over all 5 vessels. Their perfect systems, designed for efficiency and precision, had no defense against such crude, overwhelming force. Lights flickered. Targeting systems wavered. For the first time in recorded history, Krithian military technology faltered. In that moment of vulnerability, the Prometheus revealed its true nature. The ship literally came apart, its hull separating into thousands of independent segments that swarmed over the Krithian vessels like metallic locusts. Each segment acted with individual intelligence while maintaining quantum entanglement with the whole. The Krithians' weapons, designed to target single large vessels, couldn't track thousands of small, erratically moving pieces. Their point defense systems, optimized for energy weapons, couldn't adapt to physical threats that learned from each failed approach. Within minutes, all 5 Krithian ships were covered in crawling, adapting segments of the Prometheus. The pieces didn't attack, they simply attached themselves to weapon ports, sensor arrays, and engine nacelles, learning and interfacing with Krithian technology. General, his science officer reported with harmonics of despair, "They're not trying to destroy us. They're studying us. Every system they touch is being analyzed, understood, and what?" Kriegsmar demanded. "Improved, sir. They're showing us how our own systems could be more efficient. It's as if the ship is trying to teach us." In the observer fleet, silence reigned. The mighty Krithian squadron, pride of the galaxy's supreme military power, hung helpless in space, covered in what looked like helpful parasites that insisted on upgrading their hosts. Captain Martinez's voice echoed across the communication channels. "General Kriegsmar, do you yield?" The silence stretched for long moments. Finally, with harmonics that conveyed utter bewilderment more than defeat, Kriegsmar responded, "What are you?" "We're human," Martins replied simply. "We adapt. We learn. We improve. And we believe that strength comes not from perfection, but from the ability to become something new when faced with the impossible." The Prometheus began to reassemble, its segments flowing back together like mercury rejoining itself. As it reformed, the Krithian ships were left unharmed, but fundamentally changed. Their sensors now showed improved efficiency. Their shields operated with 23% less power consumption. Their weapons had been subtly recalibrated for better accuracy. The human ship had not just defeated them, it had improved them. Supreme Commander Vextar's voice resonated through space, carrying emotions no translator could fully convey. "The war game is concluded. Humanity has prevailed. Let the record show that the Krithian Empire has encountered something unprecedented. Not an enemy to be conquered, but a chaos that creates order, a fumbling that achieves brilliance, a species that wins by becoming whatever it needs to be." As the fleets began to disperse, General Kriegsmar sent a private message to Captain Martins. "Your ship, can it truly adapt to anything?" Martinez smiled. "That's the thing about human engineering, General. We don't build for what we know. We build for what we might face. The Prometheus isn't just a weapon, it's potential incarnate. And potential, by its very nature, is limitless." In the days that followed, the galactic order shifted. The Krithian Empire, for the first time in their history, requested technological exchange with a younger species. They had discovered something their perfection had blinded them to. The power of evolution, of growth, of accepting that true strength sometimes comes from embracing weakness and transforming it. The Prometheus became a symbol not of human military might, but of human philosophy made manifest. A ship that could become anything, face any challenge, adapt to any threat. It represented humanity's greatest truth, that survival came not from being the strongest, but from being the most adaptable. As for the Galactic Council, they granted humanity full military independence and something more, respect. The species they had dismissed as primitive had shown them that sometimes chaos could be its own form of order, and that perfection might just be another word for stagnation. In her final report to Earth Command, Admiral Reeves wrote, "We didn't win because we had better weapons or superior tactics. We won because we did what humans have always done. We looked at an impossible situation and asked ourselves, what if we tried something crazy? And then we did." The age of human expansion had truly begun, not through conquest, but through the simple act of showing the galaxy that there was more than one way to be strong. And sometimes, the most powerful thing in the universe was the ability to change.